the goal of Public Health 360 is to train the next generation of eminently qualified public health practitioners who will go on and transform the practice of public health around the world. So we're excited that today we have one of our signature events where our current cohort of Public Health 360 fellows from across the world, essentially across the world, are going to be presenting their community event where they are educating us, where they are creating awareness, where they are introducing to the public major global health issues, and so that individuals can really learn to become better, to manage their health, to manage the health of their family, to manage the health of populations that are of interest to them. So I'm really, really excited about this program. I want to give a shout out to all the fellows, to all my team, Dr. Susan, Dr. Zubi, Mr. Brown, Dr. Chidubem, and all the other individuals who are working tirelessly to ensure that PA 360 continues to become the program that transforms the next generation of public health practitioners that we have. So today, without much ado about nothing, we're going to actually go straight to the event. And we have 3 groups presenting. Each of the groups will have 15 minutes to present, and then we'll have 5 minutes of question. And I'm asking all the fellows to come on video for this event. In addition to coming on video, I ask that you also rename so that we can know who is a fellow and we can know who is a staff. If we can take just a few minutes to do that while group 1 gets ready. All right. I'm checking. Yeah. Great. Okay. So we're going to start with group number 1. And again, remember, the purpose here today is really to begin to showcase your ability to lead public health programs in real life. So part of this is also that you might run into situations where your group members, your team members are not available. That is okay. Life happens. And part of your expertise is that you will be able to really continue the work, right? When somebody is out, that person that is out could be your supervisor, could be the boss of the office. When they are out, they are out. You know, you got to continue the work. So I recognize that some individuals are having connectivity problems. That's okay. But we'll continue. Brown, if you can keep an eye on Zoom, I think we might have individuals joining, and then we can see what happens. Okay, so group 1, let's go to group 1.
Hello, everyone. Give me just a minute while I share my screen. Let's see. All right. Does everyone see my screen here? Hello?
Yes, we can see you and see your slides.
All right, perfect. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here today. We are presenting the Empowered Plate, a transformative nutritional education awareness program. Now, before we begin, I would like to introduce you to Group 1. Starting off with myself, my name is Ling Batoon. I am presenting to you from San Diego, California, and I am a program director.
Hello, everyone. My name is Martina Wadera, and I am the Director of Strategic Partnerships.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bhargavi Kannan. I am the Director of Outreach and Communications.
We also have Doris Iberi. She is having connection issues, but she is the Director of Monitoring and Evaluation. And we also have Caroline Fye, who is the Director of Technology Platforms and Development. So, why nutrition matters? We are here today to inspire positive change and promote healthier lifestyles worldwide. My team and I will delve into the critical nexus of global health and nutrition, highlighting why nutrition matters. Through a captivating exploration of our latest research, real-world examples, and practical insights, we aim to empower individuals with the knowledge and motivation they need to make informed choices about their diets. Nutrition lies at the heart of our well-being, influencing not only individual health, but also global disease and mortality rates. Together, we will uncover the transformative potential of better eating habits, demonstrating how simple yet impactful changes in our daily nutrition can lead to, and overall, a brighter future for people across the globe. Martina, I'm handing it over to you.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to get started with some interesting facts about nutrition globally. Did you know that over 2 billion people on the planet do not get enough vitamins and minerals from their diet? Also, more than 9 out of 10 farms in the world are family farms. They provide more than 80% of the world's food supply. 88% of all countries experience more than one form of malnutrition, from obesity to undernutrition. 75% of the world's food is generated from only 12 plants and 5 animal species. Grains make up 45% of the world's diet. Americans waste about 141 calories of food daily. And sugary drinks are the most fattening product in the modern diet. Next slide, please. So nutrition from a global perspective varies substantially across countries. Being underweight is a persisting issue for the poorest countries and can be 10 times higher than in wealthier countries. Rates of obesity prevail in wealthier countries at rates up to 5 times higher than in poorer countries. Next slide. What we eat, also known as our diet, is a major contributor to health disparities around the world. A consequence of diet-related disparities is a higher incidence of morbidity and mortality rates, as well as poor survival for many diet-related chronic diseases and conditions, including cardiovascular disease, hypertension, cancer, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. Next slide. So some factors that contribute to diet-related disparities are among the population subgroups are multifaceted and complex and include individual, environmental, social, cultural, and behavioral attributes. And now Bhargavi is going to talk to you about processed foods.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to talk to you about processed foods and their impact. Before we go on to the impact, it's important to understand what processed foods mean. So the U.S. Department of Agriculture defines processed food as one that has undergone any changes to its natural state. That is, any raw agricultural commodity that has been subjected to washing, cleaning, cutting, chopping, etc., which means that their natural state have been altered. These are considered processed foods. So based on this definition, I'm sure you're going to think virtually all foods sold in supermarkets are considered processed food. So does this mean all processed foods have the same health impacts? To put simply, no. Before we classify processed foods as healthy or unhealthy, we must understand the various degrees of food processing. Next slide, please. So the NOVA system was introduced in 2009, and it classifies all foods into 4 groups. This system is recognized by the World Health Organization, Pan American Health Organization, and Food and Agriculture Organization. However, it's important to note that the US Food and Drug Administration, owing to its generic classification of some foods, causing confusion, leaves it to the consumer to identify the level of processing. So the US Food and Drug Administration does not recognize the NOVA system. However, it's followed universally. So let's look into the types of classification under the NOVA system. Firstly, group 1 is unprocessed or minimally processed foods. As the name suggests, these include all the natural edible food parts of plants and animals. These are minimally processed or unprocessed, so they're said to be really healthy on human health. Examples include fruits, nuts, vegetables, yogurt with no sweeteners, milk, etc. Group 2 classification is processed culinary ingredients. So this includes all the seasoning and the kitchen items that we use to cook food. And these are typically not eaten on their own, but are used to prepare other foods. This can include oils, condiments, and all the powders that we use in cooking. These are somewhat less processed, not as processed as ultra-processed foods that we'll come to, but so these are considered sort of healthy on human health. Group 3 is processed foods. The processing increases the durability of foods and it modifies their flavor and texture. So processed foods derive from either of the two previous groups, but have added salt, sugar, and/or fat. Some cheeses, freshly made bread, can of fish are some of the examples. The last group are called ultra-processed. These are foods from the prior groups that go beyond the incorporation of salt, sugar, and fat. What this means is it does not just have added sugar, salt, or fat, but it also has artificial colors, emulsifiers, preservatives, and thickeners. So this is done to increase the durability and shelf life of these products, and these are considered to be really unhealthy on human health. These include Cokes, sugary drinks like Coke, Pepsi, cookies, cakes, crackers, etc. Next slide, please. So now that we saw the classification and what processed food means, I want to talk to you about some advantages and disadvantages, or the pros and cons of processed foods. Some pros that we've identified are that foods that are fortified with specific nutrients have prevented deficiencies and related problems in certain populations, like vitamin D infused milk has helped in preventing rickets in children. Processing by certain methods like pasteurization, cooking, and drying can destroy or inhibit the growth of harmful bacteria. We've seen several cases in the past where raw consumption of even lettuce leaves had led to the death of a lot of children in the United States. So certain methods of processing are considered to be advantageous and healthy. Lastly, some processed and fortified foods provide important nutrients that may not otherwise be obtained in a busy household or one that has a limited food budget. There are some cons as well to processed foods. As we know, most of the processed foods contain a lot of sugar, salt, and fat. It is appealing in taste, but nobody is aware of how much we are consuming because the taste is so good. It's also important to note that processed foods impact the environment because they rely on cheap, mass-produced ingredients, intensive processing technologies, and plastic packaging. We all know how harmful plastic is to the environment. So processed foods impact us in a way where it impacts us indirectly by actually impacting the environment. It's also important to remember that sugar and processed foods can lead to inflammation throughout the body and the brain, which may contribute to mood disorders, including anxiety and depression. So this means that processed foods also have an impact on the mental health in human beings. Next slide, please. So to conclude, I'm not going to give you a definitive answer as to whether processed foods are healthy or unhealthy to human health, because research is still in the process of finding out if it's healthy or unhealthy. So that is the reason we've identified some pros and cons, and it's left to the viewers' discretion to be aware of specific ingredients that go in food. And it's good to always check the ingredient list when you buy a product to understand what goes into the food that you're going to be eating. So to conclude again, I'm emphasizing that unprocessed or minimally processed foods in the daily diet is optimal. It's good. And to understand if the other categories are good for health, it's important to make an informed choice once you understand what goes into the food. Thank you. And I'm giving it to the next person to talk on
Doris, are you on?
Yeah, hi everyone. The role of agriculture in nutrition. Well, to start with, agriculture is the science or practice of farming, including cultivation of soil for growing of crops and rearing of animals to provide food and other products. Food is the key outcome. Food is the key outcome of agricultural activities, which in turn, it is a key input into nutrition.
Next slide.
Sorry, I'm using my phone. I'm having a challenge here, sorry. Agriculture is the only realistic way globally for people to get a maximum adequate supply of nutritious food they need. Without agriculture, there won't be food. Without agriculture, there won't be food. And in that order,
Link, can you continue? I think I lost
Okay.
it. Yeah.
No worries. Okay, so just picking up from
interesting that people
from her slide. So challenges of modern agriculture. Modern farming is an evolving approach to improve the efficiency and production of farm produce and as well as reduce the loss of natural resources. Farmers today are confronted with a variety of challenges that fundamentally test the resilience of modern agriculture. For instance, soil depletion and excessive use of pesticides. The image here you see one is the traditional agriculture and the other is modern agriculture. Okay. So nutritional education is an essential component to improve the nutritional status of a population. Experts agree that dietary intervention has been proven to be successful in the prevention and management of lifestyle-related diseases, such as type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. The importance of nutrition education. It starts with educate consumers to eat a rich diet, create awareness on malnutrition, empower individuals to prioritize their health, and equip children with lifelong skills for healthy living. Now, we also have the ripple effect. So it starts with the individual, change in nutrition behavior, family, bring awareness to the family, and then bring it to the community, improves the community general health. And from there, it improves the nation social economic status. And we are taking it back to you, Martina.
Thank you, Ling. Now that we've covered the current issues in global nutrition, we would like you to consider how your culture impacts your dietary choices. Each of our group members would like to share their favorite cultural dish with our audience here. So me personally, my favorite dish in my family is bigos. It's also known as hunter's stew. It is the national dish of Poland, and it consists of various chopped meats stewed with sauerkraut, shredded fresh cabbage, onions, mushrooms, and spices. It is served hot with some bread. It's very easy to make and very delicious.
So my dish that I decided to do this on is it's papaya salad, essentially. It is from Thailand. It is a local, popular local dish over there. The main ingredient in this salad is crispy green unripe papaya. 1 cup serves about 3 grams of fiber and more than all the immune boosting vitamin C that you need in a day. This shredded fruit is tossed with green beans, tomatoes, and fresh lime juice, topped off with peanuts that will add a really nice crunch, and you eat it.
The staple dish in India is dal. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. It is basically lentils, pressure cooked with salt, turmeric, and chili powder, coriander powder, any spices you like, and tempered off with mustard seeds, dried red chili, and hing. Dal is a protein-packed food, super healthy, super nutritious, and very, very easy to make. So if you want the recipe, hit me up and I will share it with you.
Doris, I will talk about Doris' dish. Her favorite local dish is from Nigeria. It's called abacha. It's an African salad. Abacha is an Eastern Nigerian dish made using dried shredded cassava. You can eat it as a snack or a full meal. There are many there are many variations to making this salad, but the more ingredients you add, the tastier the dish will be. Whichever way you prepare it, you eat it warm or cold, it will still come out delicious. Digital nutrition advocacy. Digital nutrition typically refers to the quality and quantity of the digital content and information we consume through various digital platforms and devices, such as the internet, social media, apps, and online resources. It also involves being mindful of the type of nutrition information we encounter online and how it can impact our dietary habits overall. I do have a list here of all things you can do online right from your fingertips, from apps, online blogs, and even food label scanning apps to check the nutrition on your food. In summary, digital nutrition involves the use of digital tools and resources to support informed dietary choices and promote the overall well-being in the digital age. I have here kind of like a guide of your daily servings, and I just want to note that this is a US guide. Okay, so briefly, it starts out with grains, and then it goes up to your fruits and vegetables, and then your meat, fish, and eggs, your milk alternatives, and all the way at the top, it's oils, salt, and sugars. Lastly, in my experience, effective leadership has proven to be the driving force behind the success of nutritional education programs. Whether you're an educated leader or a concerned citizen, you can actively advocate for nutrition policies, champion initiatives, and offer support to community health programs. As we witness the concerning rise in nutrition-related diseases, we all hold the power to shape policies and initiatives. Inspiring communities to prioritize health and well-being. So let's make a change together. Thank you so much for listening in, and we will take your questions.
That was phenomenal. Really, really good. I learned about dishes today. I'm going to go get them. Dal, the Thai salad, and then the abacha, of course. I'm familiar with that. So abacha was highlighted sometime this year by Google, actually, as a recipe of food that came from a small ethnic group and has become global. But I was surprised that you didn't showcase Indian curry. So I know curry, I've eaten a lot of curries, but this is fantastic. Okay, Brown is keeping time. We have some time for questions. For our guests or for everybody, feel free to type in your questions on the screen, or you can, unmute or raise your hand. To raise your hand, you're going to go on the bottom of your Zoom. If you're using a laptop, there is the reactions button. You click the reactions button. You can use the raise hand function to ask questions. This is really, really good. Very impactful. I learned a lot today.
Thank you.
Really impactful.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for joining.
Good. Okay. So now we're going to switch it over to group 2. So I hand it over virtually to group 2 to start their presentation.
Hello, everyone. My name's Amina McCrary. I'm a Public Health 360 Fellow and the project manager for today's presentation. We are Health in the Balance, a community outreach project. Next, we'll introduce our other team members. Again, my name's Amina McCrary, and I'm our project director.
Hello, my name is Harneet Sandhu. I'm one of the PH 360 Fellow and also the Clinical Director for Health in the Balance Community Outreach Program.
Hello, my name is Rose Munyoki. I'm one of the Public Health 360 Fellows, and I'm the Director of Monitoring and Evaluation in this team.
Hello, my name is Willa Getling. I'm the Director of Outreach and Communications on this team. I'm also a PH 360 Fellow. And I'm going to hand it back over to our Director, Amina.
For today's presentation, we will review the following topics. We're going to discuss what our purpose of Health in the Balance is, provide some background information about overweight and obesity, talk about some major health issues as well as risk factors, give some information in reference to prevention, go over some recommendations, do a demonstration as well as an activity, also provide some community support, and then review some of our references. I'm going to turn it over to our clinical director, Harneet.
The purpose of the Health in the Balance program is to create awareness and educate the public on individual strategies to reduce overweight and obesity. The World Health Organization defines overweight and obesity as an abnormal or excessive fat accumulation that may impair your health. There has been a rapid increase of overweight and obesity. The fundamental cause of obesity and overweight is the energy imbalance between calories consumed and calories expended. Body mass index, also called the BMI, provides the most useful population level measure of overweight and obesity. For adults, WHO defines a person overweight if BMI is greater than or equal to 25, and obese if BMI is greater than or equal to 30. The worldwide prevalence of obesity nearly tripled since reporting in 2016. This is an issue globally that can change with resources, support, and continued efforts. I'm going to turn it over to Rose now.
Did you know that by 2030, 1 billion people are estimated to be living with obesity globally? And between 1975 and 2016, the number of people living with obesity tripled. Next slide, please. So what are some of the risk factors for being overweight and obese? Firstly is the lack of engagement in physical activities, combined with taking too much time or using most of the time at the front of a TV screen or on our electronic devices, which has been associated with a high BMI since most of the time is spent seated. Secondly is unhealthy eating habits, the consumption of foods that are high in added sugars, in saturated fats, and consuming a lot of calories while using less of that. Thirdly is the lack of enough and quality sleep, which can cause overeating and also make us not recognize our body signals that we are full due to a number of hormonal changes that occur. Fourthly is the high stress levels, which cause some hormonal changes, making us to overeat and add more fat, also similarly as a result of hormonal changes. Health conditions such as metabolic syndrome also cause people to gain weight. So it's imperative for people to have such conditions treated so that the weight can be normalized. Medications such as antidepressants, antipsychotics, birth control cause people to gain weight. And in case people realize that they gain weight while on such medications, they can talk to their healthcare provider and see whether alternative medications can be given for their condition, which have less effect on their weight. Genetics, some genes have been associated with obesity, like they influence obesity. And so for people who have a higher risk genetically of being obese, it's important for them to adopt healthy lifestyles in order to reduce the risk. The environment people live in influences their behaviors. Living in a neighborhood whereby there are many fast foods, people are more likely to consume most of those, as opposed to when you live close to a farmer's market, whereby you opt to eat healthier. Next slide, please. So what are some of the major health issues as a result of overweight and obesity? There's limited mobility or movement due to the gaining of weight. As a result of accumulation of excessive fat, can lead to diabetes, cardiovascular disease, stroke, some cancers. And as a result of weight discrimination, mental health issues can come up, and musculoskeletal disorders can also come up as a result of the gaining much weight and limited mobility. Next slide, please. So what are some of the ways in which you can prevent being overweight and obese? Healthy eating habits by including vegetables and fruits in our meals, and limiting on foods that are high in saturated fats and added sugars, and exercising as much as possible, which can be as simple as walking or even jumping, or even vigorous activity if need be. The third one is maintaining a healthy body weight, which also comes with eating right, as well as exercising as much as possible to burn the excess calories. Proper stress management is also imperative, which can be in the form of talking to someone or even spending time being engaged in a hobby that you enjoy, and also seeking medical attention if need be. It's important also to ensure that we have quality sleep by removing or getting rid of any distractors that may interfere with our sleep cycle, such as the use of mobile phones during our sleeping time, in order to ensure that we have a quality and good sleep for the sake of our own health. An annual BMI checkup is also important, so as to monitor any changes in the BMI in order to ensure that the necessary lifestyle changes are adopted in order to maintain normal weight. I'll now hand it over to my colleague, Willa.
Thank you, Rose. So going off of what Rose said about recommendations for preventing overweight and obesity, what are some things that you can do in your day-to-day to prevent this from occurring for you? So you can improve your diet. And on the left hand of the screen, we have the DASH eating plan, which is a US-based eating plan. But things that are good for you to eat would be fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and low-fat proteins such as fish, nuts, poultry, beans, nuts and seeds, and to limit your intake of fatty foods such as fatty meats, full fat dairy, sugary drinks and snacks, sodium and alcohol. And to implement moderate or vigorous activity into your day-to-day on a regular basis. So it's recommended that you have at least 75 minutes of vigorous activity in a week, or 150 minutes of moderate activity in a week. So vigorous activity would be getting your heart rate up, so going for a run. Moderate activity would be getting up, moving around, walking, things like this. And with our day-to-day, there's more jobs that are remote, so there's more sedentary activity in all of our day-to-day lives. So making sure that if you do have a day-to-day that's filled with sitting, to break up the day with getting up, moving around, and to reduce that sedentary activity. So I'm going to hand it off to Amina now to talk about some activities that you can do, or an activity you can do.
Thank you, Willa. So as you guys just heard Willa discuss, there is a difference between vigorous and moderate activity. It also depends on the intensity, how fast you need your heart to beat or not. Not everybody is as active as they used to be. So it's okay if you do a little bit of vigorous activity, meaning running at a faster pace, or just taking a brisk walk, but you can always combine the two. Next slide. So what I'm going to do for everyone today is demonstrate how to do jumping jacks. Now, first and foremost, before you do any exercise, please make sure you stretch. Even if it's just an up and down and you roll your necks and you roll your arms, but please make sure you always do some form of stretching. At that point, once you're done stretching, if you feel warmed up and great, then you can start your jumping jacks. So I'm standing about shoulder width apart with my feet, my arms are at my side, and then I begin my jumping jacks. As you do your jumping jacks, you can do them as fast as you want, as slow as you want, but as long as you're maintaining the proper structure and the proper form when you do them, they will be most versatile for what you need. Keep in mind, if you start to experience any type of sharp pains or any aches, please immediately stop the exercise. You would not want to get yourself hurt. And if your pain continues to persist, please be sure to seek medical attention. I'm now going to turn it back over to Willa, who's going to share some community support details with you all.
So again, in your day-to-day, what are some things that you have access to that can help to prevent obesity and overweight within your community or within your own families? So the World Health Organization has the ACTIVE program, which is a program meant to reduce overweight and obesity worldwide by 10% over the next 5 years. But it has tips for systems level changes in activity and on personal level. So what are some exercises that you could engage with on the day-to-day to keep yourself active? The United States Department of Agriculture has a meal planning recommendation called My Plate. So this is a really easy app that you can use. You can also interface with it just online. You just put in your weight, your height, and your level of physical activity daily, roughly. And then it comes up with an eating plan for you about how much grains, how much dairy, how much protein you should be eating on a regular basis, and the breakdown of what each of those food categories look like. So what does it look like to be eating grains on a regular basis? What are some grains that you could incorporate? There's also the DASH eating plan, which we looked at 2 slides ago. You could also look into supplemental nutrition programs, otherwise known as SNAP or food stamps. So if you have trouble getting access to healthy or fresh foods, the SNAP program can help in making food more affordable for you. Most grocery stores in the United States accept SNAP. And if you go to places like farmers markets, there are some cities within the US that will double your SNAP amount. So your money goes twice as far. You could also visit pantries and food banks. You can use the BMI calculator tool. So the body mass, this stands for body mass index. And this is your height to weight ratio. And you want to check up on this to make sure that you're staying within a healthy BMI range. You can check up on your city parks and recreation guides. Some community centers will offer discounts for things like accessing community pools on a regular basis, but city parks and recreation are also great resources for free access to outdoor activity. And then if you're having trouble with mental health related to discrimination for your weight or any sort of eating habits, you could get in touch with counseling services such as BetterHelp, which is an online service. So you could access it no matter where you're living around the globe, and it offers sliding scale therapy services. Next slide. So these are some of the references that we pulled from throughout our presentation, and that concludes our presentation. Thank you all for taking time to listen, and we have a few moments for questions.
Very good, very good. Congratulations, Group 2. I actually have a couple questions. I think one question here said, I see a connection between this presentation and the earlier presentation. So the question is, first question is, are you seeing an increase in overweight and obesity both in Western countries and in developing countries? Really good question.
Yes, there's an increase, and although previously overweight and obesity were more of a challenge to high-income countries, the low and middle-income countries are also seeing an increase in numbers of people who are either overweight or obese. And even among the top 10 countries which have the highest rates globally of overweight and obesity are actually the small Pacific Island nations. They're actually like 8 out of 10 countries. So most of them are actually developing nations. So yes.
That is interesting, right? Before we used to think that that was a burden only for developed countries. Now it is in developing countries as well, which is important. Another question I have here is the USDA My Plate app free? Is it free of charge, or do you have to pay for it?
Yes, it is free. And
Okay.
anybody can use it.
Okay. What is the other question I have? Yeah, the other question is about can you talk about the impact of increased remote working on overweight and obesity?
Due to people now having the accessibility of ordering food at home, not having to actually cook a meal because now you can time a meal being delivered to you, it's creating a sense of comfort for people to not want to get out, not want to socialize, not want to be in their own environment. And with that happening, unfortunately, it's causing people to be more sedentary than normal. There's also been an increase in young adults having a lot of other health issues that they normally wouldn't have until they reach their 40s and their 50s, because they're consuming food that is not as healthy as it used to be. It's unfortunate, though, that with remote work, a lot of people are forced to sit in front of a screen for up to 8 to 10, 12 hours a day. So that's limiting them getting up just to even get a simple bottle of water or having the ability to move because they're glued to a screen, or they're forced to take their work with them, whether they're at the park with their family or they're out to eat with friends. My hope would be that as companies are starting to revert folks from home back to the office, that they bring back the ability to do physical activity at work, or they push people to actually take a break. Like 15-minute breaks should not be just for people who smoke. They should be for other people who've been at their computer sedentary for 5-6 hours straight. Or also encouraging more company outings where folks can get together and actually eat together, play softball together, or do a volunteering event, just to remind each other that we're all important and you all matter, not just because you sit behind a screen.
Thank you. Yeah, one final question here. What can we do for parents? What can we do to help young kids become active and moving about? Now that we have different types of technology, games, mobile phone, what can we do? And this can be anybody. What can we do? What are some of the tips that you can give to individuals and parents on how to support kids to become more physically active?
So first of all, I would say that for parents, it's very important to limit screen use for children. So if they are taught at an early stage, like if they're young, it's the understanding is better. And do you want to add anything to that, Willa?
Yeah, I would say also encouraging outdoor time and encouraging time with friends. So using community spaces that you have access to in your neighborhood. It could be a park, it could be a beach, it could be a play field. But this is a great place to meet other parents, other children, and just encouraging relationships among kids and activities outside where children can be active with one another.
Perfect.
I would also like to add to that making healthy meals, make it like a family activity where kids and the parents, they all cook together.
Sorry, good tips. Good tips. Thank you so much for the group. Moving on now to the last but not the least, group number 3. Handing the virtual microphone to you.
All right, just give me a minute. Let me share my screen.
Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. We are here to discuss a crucial topic on maternal health, postpartum depression through our outreach program, YANA. You are not alone. Next slide, please. My name is Dr. Karishma Pandho. I am one of the Public Health 360 Fellows serving as a lead and program director of YANA. Today, I'm delighted to be presenting this program with 3 other public health fellows. Tommy, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Oluwatomi Olufade. I'm one of the 360 Public Health Fellow, and I am the Director of Strategic Partnerships.
Hi everyone, this is Azar Masood. I work with public health agencies in integrations and health information management. And we also had Sergey today, who couldn't join us. He's our monitoring and evaluation officer. So we're going to proceed without him. Over to you, Krishma.
Thank you, Azar. So the purpose of YANA is to create awareness about the risk factors associated with postpartum depression and to educate the public about the various coping strategies. By providing valuable information and resources, YANA aims to help new mothers navigate through this difficult phase and ensure their mental and emotional well-being. Next slide, please. So before we take deep dive into postpartum depression, we want to understand our audience. We will be using Mentimeter to create word cloud to educate and engage you all. To participate, please scan the QR code on the screen or visit menti.com and enter the code 23993628. 23993628. Your answers will be displayed live on the screen. So let's move to the Mentimeter screen. I'll just give you a few seconds. Has everybody joined?
Let's just give them a little more time. You can also scan the QR that you're seeing on the screen. And remember, it's menti, menti.com. And the code is 23993628. I see that we have 2 people now. Let's just give it a little bit more time to everyone to join.
Once you've joined, you will see a question. Please type in your responses. Try to keep them under 3 words if possible. So what comes to your mind when you hear the term postpartum depression? So I can see the responses: sadness, no help, sad, depressed, mothers, dangerous birth, preterm birth. Type in, we need 1 or 2 responses more. Okay. So we have enough of the responses. And most of you said sadness. Now let's come back to the presentation. Thank you for the participation. Now, actually, let's see what postpartum depression is. So postpartum depression is a prolonged and intense form of mood disturbance that follows childbirth experienced by the new mothers. 1 in 10 women experience postpartum depression after giving birth. So do you know, many new moms experience these feelings shortly after giving birth, which are often referred to as baby blues. Some common symptoms are crying, anxiety, and feeling restlessness or overwhelmed. These symptoms are known as baby blues and are likely to occur within 4 to 5 days after the birth of the baby while feelings of postpartum depression are more intense and last longer than those of baby blues. So now that we know the definition of postpartum depression, I'm handing over to my colleague Tommy. She will be talking about some signs and symptoms, risk factors, and prevention strategies in the depth.
Thank you, Karishma. Hello, everyone. Once again, my name is Tommy. I'll be talking on the symptoms of postpartum depression. It's a critical aspect. Knowing the symptoms of a particular health issue is very important. When we understand the symptoms, it helps for early detection and effective support for that particular health issue. Some of the symptoms of postpartum depression is change in appetite, change in sleep patterns, having feelings of hopelessness, not able to think clearly or make decisions, and this can significantly impact on the person's daily functioning and overall well-being. You see some people find it difficult doing what they're able to do normally without stress. They now find it difficult doing them. We have severe anxiety and panic attacks, severe mood swings, and one important one is mothers feeling a sort of detachment or sort of emotional detachment with their newborn, and this can also affect the developmental growth of the baby. We have loss of interest or pleasure in activities that you would usually enjoy. Postpartum depression can interfere with a person's ability to take care of themselves and also their babies and other daily tasks that they usually enjoy. So being able to recognize these symptoms is important for early intervention. I will move on to next slide, please. I'll move on to the risk factors. Also, knowing the risk factors of postpartum depression is important. And from my research, I saw that there are 3 factors that are less predictive, but they still increase the risk of postpartum depression in women, especially when they're being combined with one or more of the factors that we've listed above in the slide. And this is being a single mother, unplanned or unwanted pregnancy, lower socioeconomic status. These 3 factors, when combined with some of these factors that are on the screen, you see that they also increase the risk of postpartum depression. And the other factors that we can see is change in hormonal levels after childbirth. And I believe estrogen is that hormone that is responsible for this. Stress involving care of a newborn child is a risk factor for postpartum depression. If you have a previous mental health issue, either depression, anxiety, or any of the other mental health issues, it could also be a risk factor for developing postpartum depression. If there's a family history of PPD, that's also a risk factor. We have cultural factors in regards to stigma, discrimination, and cultural insensitivities that do not support certain levels of care. For example, there are some cultures that do not believe in mental health, or they categorize people with mental health as not being strong. That can also be a risk factor. We have the lack of access to good and quality health care, both prenatal and postnatal, can be a risk factor for PPD. Domestic violence, from research, it's been known that women who experience domestic violence are at higher risk of having postpartum depression. These are some of the risk factors, and it's important to know these factors. It can help in preventing the onset of postpartum depression. Next slide, please. I'll also be talking about the prevention strategies. It's also important to know some of the strategies that can be put in place to prevent postpartum depression. It's not always possible to prevent postpartum depression entirely from research, but there are steps that we can take to reduce the risk and also the impact. And PPD can affect anyone, regardless of your background, but with the right help and the right support, the risk and the impact can be reduced. Some of these risk factors some of the prevention strategies are early prenatal care, both, I believe, prenatal and postnatal care, promoting a healthy lifestyle, that's eating right, engaging in exercise or physical activities, having good sleep can be a prevention strategy. We have educating expectant mothers and their families, their loved ones, support system about postpartum depression, the symptoms, the risk factors, and the importance of seeking help is very important. Also, if their support system know how to offer help when they notice that a loved one is having symptoms of postpartum depression, that's also very important. Promoting a healthy lifestyle, I've said that early detection and intervention is also a prevention strategy. Having access to affordable mental health care is also very important, and support groups where new mothers can seek help. They can relate with other people who are going through the same situation can also be a prevention strategy. I'll be handing over to my colleague Aza to talk about the coping strategies.
All right, thank you so much, Tammy, for that presentation. And now that we have looked at some precautionary measures, let's see how we can manage and some coping strategies. A few of the options that we can consider are, wait a second, let me see if the picture wasn't going. Okay, can you guys see the picture now? All right, so we have relaxation techniques that you can do, which is like meditation, taking deep breath. This can help mother reduce stress and anxiety. Physical exercises are also recommended, as they can help in recovery from postpartum depression, both physically and mentally. A well-balanced diet, which is rich in nutrition, may assist when dealing with postpartum depression. We also have options that you could explore from the professional healthcare if you have to look into medications, but you need to seek professional healthcare providers' advice to ensure they are effective and also are safe for both you and the breastfeeding infant. Encouraging mothers to seek assistance during the postnatal period. This could form relatives. Encouraging mothers to seek assistance during early postnatal period is important. The help could come from relatives, friends, neighbors, or anyone who is actually willing to lend you a hand. If you have partners available, they can play a really critical role. Encouraging open communication, understanding the need of emotional and practice support can help with the recovery process. A few other options are community-based, such as mothers supporting mothers. So having it hear from someone who has gone through it is always, or getting a shared experience, someone that has gone through it is really important to get the support and guidance that you may need. Healthcare workers, of course, as I mentioned earlier, are very important to get that initial assessment and also to get some guidance on how to intervene during the depression and when to intervene. In some severe cases, involvement of mental health professionals may also be necessary. So let's look at some take-home points. And at the bottom of the screen, you can see some useful resources. One of them is Postpartum Support International. It has like really great resources. Now, we know that welcoming a new baby can be exciting, and it actually is exciting, but can also be exhausting for new parents. In order to make their transition into parenthood a little easier, offering help with household tasks like doing dishes, cleaning, or preparing a meal, or if you are able to, you can even help with laundry. Now, little gestures like these actually can go a long way in reducing their stress, the new parent's stress, and allowing them to focus on their new bundle of joy, their baby. Do not remember the other take-home points. If you're looking at them, we have to make sure you do not neglect your own self-need during the early phase, because we know that the baby is the center of the universe during that time, even for most mothers. But we have to make sure you have to take care of yourself. That is really important. If you do go through postpartum depression, remember, do not blame yourself. Be open for communication, right? This can happen to anyone. And if you are going through a postpartum depression, don't blame yourself and be open to communication with your partner, family, friends, and support groups. And lastly, remember, you are not alone. Thank you. Over to you, Grishma. Oh, sorry, Tommy.
Before we end this presentation, we're all going to be engaging in a 2-minute meditation exercise to help relax our minds and also for stress relief. And I would like every one of us to take part in this exercise. So I'm just going to give us 10 seconds to relax and get ready, sit in a comfortable position, and just get ready for the exercise. Asa, can you play the video, please?
Asa, can you unshare? When you're sharing, you include audio so that we'll be able to hear.
Tommy, you can also guide us through the exercise.
The video is meant to be the exercise. Asa, are you able to do it?
Okay, so it seems like was no one able to hear it? I'm so sorry, it didn't work. All right, but what we can do is we can definitely share the link with everyone, and we would definitely want you guys to try that. And if we have time for it, we are up for question and answers. And if required, we can also throw around the quiz that we have ready, if time allows us.
Very good, very good. This is really good. This is great. So I want to thank the 3 groups. These are the things I heard. Group 1 was really phenomenal on nutritional education. I think one thing I saw for the 3 presentations is that they are representative of the fellows that we have in this cohort. These are issues that are very pertinent regardless of where you are in the world. Nutritional education is there. Somebody put it in the chat here that beverage industries are really roll-balling in developing countries, that everybody's consuming the same amount of sugar. But we have a responsibility as individuals, and more so as public health professionals, to continue to raise awareness on this risk, continue to educate the public, and continue to improve health. Then the second one is equally another global health problem around overweight and obesity. something that started several years ago as the sickness of the rich, right? Sickness of the high-income countries, developed industrialized countries. Now it has become the sickness of everybody. And what is going on is that even in low-income countries, the higher your socioeconomic status is, or, then the more you become overweight and obese, as if you are living in the developing countries. One of the things people have said there is about processed food, which Group 1 actually talked about, right? The more people think, quote unquote, they are rich in developing countries, the more they depart from their organic food, and now they begin to eat processed food. And then the more processed food they are eating, the more they are getting on the ladder of overweight and obesity. And finally, we know that here in the United States, Black women are more likely to die during pregnancy than any other race. So this is a major issue for the United States. It has become an issue that the United States is worse than any other industrialized country in the world. And something I'm really happy that you guys talked about, the importance of destigmatization of seeking help, right? The importance of the mom taking care of herself while the baby is here. And then this awareness so that everybody will recognize how to provide support for all the moms during childbirth. So I think this has been a learning opportunity for me. These three groups are phenomenal. The presentations are great. And I'm looking forward to the feedback we're going to get from YouTube and from our colleagues who are watching virtually. Each of you should go home today really excited, really happy, and I'm looking forward to even the bigger event, which is going to be the graduation and the capstone project that is going to come in a couple of weeks, in ahead of us. So on that note, I want to thank every one of you for, sleepless nights, hours and hours working across and coming out as leaders. You have seen the leadership, right? Somebody does something, and again, it kicks off, another person covers for the other. That is actually how the real world of public health is. You get on a project, somebody is right there trying to execute a project, they have a family emergency, you step in. But I think the most important parting word I want to leave with our fellows today is these projects that you have presented today, the global nature of the knowledge that you have presenting these actually opens you up to what we call the opportunity to become freelancers. You can become freelance consultants for organizations. It doesn't matter where they are. They could be in Asia, they could be in Africa, they could be in Europe, you could be in the United States, and you can become actually the consultant for them because the issues are identical regardless of where they live. I'm getting notes here that we want to do the meditation. So let's just take 2 minutes and do that meditation.
Mindful movement. I'm Sarah Raymond, and I invite you to make yourself comfortable. Close your eyes if you like.
So I want someone to say,
Take a moment
put a
to
thumbs
pause.
up if you guys can hear it.
Mindfully breathe and let everything else go. Breathe deeply in through your nose and breathe out completely through your mouth. Do this again. Fill up, expand with your inhale, and let go. Relax with your exhale. Continue breathing like this, and as you do, perhaps feel your body soften, your muscles let loose, and your mind calm. Simply notice the sensations of your breath. And by paying attention, your breath leads your mind's attention and relaxes you further. Allow your thoughts to come and go, just like the rise and fall of your breath. Simply be here now with your breath. for this short pause to relax. Connect with this feeling of calm within you. And when you are ready, open your eyes again. You can take this pause to free yourself from stress anytime you need, as many times as you need. Thank you for practicing with me. Here at the Mindful Movement, we are an oasis where you can come to tap into your inner peace, positive mindset, and the ability for self-healing anytime you need. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I think, please, if you can unmute, join me and let us give all the three groups round of applause. Several of them. Really, really, really great. So for our guests and for those who have joined us on YouTube or on Facebook, you can be one of these fellows. So if you want to find more about the program, you can just visit us online on myghep.org/PH360. Thank you, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us and for spending time with us on our outreach and education program. God bless you, and bye.
Bye.